American media is on the brink of a transformation, one that could redefine not just what we watch, but who shapes the stories that reach millions of homes every day. The stakes have never been higher, and the players involved are some of the most powerful names in business, politics, and entertainment. At the heart of this unfolding drama are Paramount and Warner Bros. Discovery, two titans of the industry now locked in a high-stakes power play. Their brands are synonymous with Hollywood history, blockbuster films, and the news networks that inform the nation. Paramount, under the ambitious leadership of David Ellison, is making a bold move to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery. David's vision is backed by the deep pockets and strategic acumen of his father, Larry Ellison, the billionaire tech mogul. Together, they're betting big on the future of media, aiming to create a powerhouse that could rival any global competitor. On the other side, Warner Bros. Discovery, led by CEO David Zaslav, finds itself the target of this aggressive bid. Zaslav, known for his sharp deal-making and relentless drive, is determined to protect his company's legacy and its vast portfolio of content, from iconic movies to influential news channels. Adding a layer of intrigue, Jared Kushner, best known as President Trump's son-in-law, has entered the fray. Through his private equity firm, Affinity Partners, Kushner has positioned himself as a key investor, bringing not just capital, but also political connections that could sway the outcome. The final decision, however, rests with President Trump's administration, which will have the authority to approve or block the merger. This raises pressing questions about political influence, regulatory fairness, and whether personal relationships could tip the scales in such a consequential deal. The stakes are even higher with CNN in the mix, a network that has often found itself at odds with Trump. As a major asset in this deal, CNN's fate could signal broader shifts in how news is reported and who gets to decide what's newsworthy. This isn't just a corporate battle, it's a collision of immense wealth, media control, and political power. The outcome could reshape the American information landscape, influencing not only what stories are told, but also who gets to tell them, and why. In the end, the result of this megadeal will determine who controls the stories America sees, hears, and believes, and who ultimately benefits from holding that power in their hands. In a move that sent shockwaves through the global business community, Paramount stunned Wall Street by launching a staggering $108 billion hostile takeover bid for Warner Bros. Discovery. This bold and unexpected maneuver immediately became the talk of the financial world, with analysts and investors scrambling to assess the implications for the entire media industry. Paramount's offer is straightforward and aggressive, $30 per share, all in cash. This isn't just a generous premium over Warner Bros. Discovery's recent trading price. It's a clear signal that Paramount is willing to pay top dollar to secure control, and it's designed to be irresistible to shareholders who may be looking for a quick and lucrative exit. What makes this move even more dramatic is that Paramount has chosen to bypass Warner Bros. Discovery's management entirely. By going straight to the shareholders, Paramount is putting immense pressure on CEO David Zaslav and his executive team, forcing them into a defensive position and igniting a high-stakes corporate battle. The board of Warner Bros. Discovery now faces a ticking clock, with a deadline set for January 8, 2026. This looming date sets the stage for a dramatic and potentially contentious showdown, as both sides prepare their strategies and rally their supporters. Meanwhile, the plot thickens as Netflix enters the fray with a competing bid. However, Netflix's offer is notably less attractive from a financial standpoint. It's lower in value and structured with a significant stock component, rather than the all-cash simplicity of Paramount's proposal. This difference could sway shareholders who prefer immediate liquidity. But there's a major catch. If Warner Bros. Discovery decides to reject Paramount's offer in favor of Netflix's, it will trigger a massive $2.8 billion breakup fee. This penalty is designed to make the board think twice before walking away, serving as a powerful deterrent and raising the financial stakes even higher. The board is now caught between two transformative options: a cash-rich, politically charged deal with Paramount that could reshape the power dynamics of Hollywood, or a merger with Netflix that promises to revolutionize the streaming landscape and redefine how audiences consume content. Whichever path they choose, the result will be the creation of a media behemoth with unprecedented influence over both content creation and global distribution, potentially setting new industry standards and altering the competitive landscape for years to come. Paramount's bold bid is a masterclass in corporate strategy, expertly cornering its rival and forcing a decision that will echo throughout the entertainment world. The tactics at play here are being closely studied by business schools and industry veterans alike. No matter the outcome, this battle will fundamentally redefine the media landscape, influencing everything from how movies are made to how audiences access their favorite shows. The pressure is mounting, the stakes are sky high, and the world is watching as the future of entertainment hangs in the balance. A $108 billion cash bid demands a formidable financial alliance. David Ellison has assembled a powerhouse group, his father Larry Ellison, RedBird Capital, and Jared Kushner's Affinity Partners. Larry Ellison and RedBird anchor the deal with $40 billion, signaling deep confidence. Kushner's Affinity Partners, with its global connections and history of raising billions from Middle Eastern sovereign funds, brings political and financial heft. This coalition isn't just about money, it's about influence, access, and a direct link to the White House. The financial web behind Paramount's bid is as complex and consequential as the media assets at stake. The Paramount bid moves beyond business, landing squarely in the political arena. Any deal of this size must pass government scrutiny, with President Trump's administration holding the final say. Trump's open hostility toward CNN, a key Warner Bros. Discovery asset, raises doubts about impartiality. The president's direct involvement in merger talks, including meetings with Netflix's CEO, is unprecedented. Larry Ellison's support for Trump and his interest in reshaping CNN add fuel to the fire. The regulatory process will be watched for signs of favoritism or retribution, especially with Kushner's financial stake. Every move will be scrutinized by lawmakers, the public, and the media. This is no ordinary antitrust review, it's a political drama with the presidency at its core. The president's family directly profiting from a deal under his regulatory control is nearly unprecedented. Past presidents have distanced themselves from business interests to avoid conflicts of interest. Kushner's role in the Paramount bid blurs the line between public service and private gain. The Department of Justice, led by Trump, will review the merger, making impartiality a major concern. This situation tests the ethical guardrails of American democracy and sets a new precedent for presidential families. The Paramount-Warner Bros. Discovery bid forces a reckoning over the boundaries between power and profit. The financial muscle behind Paramount's bid includes sovereign wealth funds from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. These state-backed investors raise national security concerns about foreign influence over American media. To address this, all outside investors, including Kushner's Affinity Partners, have agreed to forego governance rights and board seats. This silent partner arrangement is designed to reassure regulators that control remains with American owners. Critics warn that financial dependence on foreign capital could still shape decisions behind the scenes. The structure of this deal will be a flashpoint in the regulatory debate. Foreign investment in U.S. media triggers a review by CFIUS, the government's national security watchdog. CFIUS will scrutinize the involvement of Middle Eastern sovereign funds and Kushner's Affinity Partners. Media companies are critical infrastructure, and even non-controlling foreign stakes raise red flags. The deal's architects hope that waiving governance rights will satisfy CFIUS concerns. But the committee's review will be rigorous, weighing both formal structures and informal influence. With CNN and other major assets in play, this review will be one of the most closely watched in history. The outcome could set a precedent for future foreign investment in American media. If Paramount's bid succeeds, the Trump family, via Kushner, will own a stake in a media empire that includes CNN, HBO, and Warner Bros. This would shatter norms separating the presidency from media ownership. CNN's editorial independence would be under a cloud, with journalists reporting on an administration tied to their parent company. The deal would concentrate media power in the hands of politically connected insiders, raising fears of agenda-driven coverage. It could normalize presidential families leveraging public office for private gain. Public trust in both government and media could erode, with long-term consequences for democracy. The stakes go far beyond business. They touch the core of American institutions. The Paramount-Warner Bros. Discovery takeover is a defining moment for media, politics, and democracy. It's not just another business deal, it's a seismic shift that could alter the very fabric of how information is created, distributed, and consumed in America. The $108 billion bid is historic, but the real story is who's behind it. Kushner, Ellison, and President Trump. These are not just business titans. They are power brokers with deep political connections and ambitions, raising questions about the intersection of media ownership and political influence. As the January deadline looms, Warner Bros. Discovery's board faces a fateful choice: Paramount's cash, Netflix's alternative, or a costly fight. Each option carries enormous risks and rewards, not just for shareholders, but for the entire media landscape. The decision will trigger intense antitrust and national security reviews, all under a president with a personal stake. Regulatory agencies will be under pressure to prove their independence, as the world scrutinizes every move for signs of bias or favoritism. Every step will be politicized, with the public watching for signs of undue influence. The media's role as the fourth estate is at stake, and trust in institutions hangs by a thread. This battle forces us to confront urgent questions. Who should control the media? Should a handful of powerful individuals shape what millions see and hear, or should the public have a greater say in the flow of information? Where is the line between public service and private profit? Can media companies truly serve democracy when profit motives and political interests collide? The outcome will shape not just a company, but the future of information, trust, and democracy itself. The ripple effects will be felt in newsrooms, living rooms, and voting booths across the nation. The world is watching, and the consequences will echo for decades. Other countries will look to America's example as they grapple with their own media challenges. The fate of American media and the standards of its democracy hang in the balance. The choices made now will determine who gets to inform, influence, and inspire the next generation. What happens next will define an era, setting the tone for the relationship between power, the press, and the people for years to come.